It gets worse for Bitcoin as Bitcoin tumbles back down to low $60,000. And in today's video, we're going to be going over a very specific and important pivot for actually not necessarily today, but tomorrow, Sunday, Sunday's closure that, if met, would indicate that Bitcoin is going to tumble likely a lot more, and what sort of targets would be spurned upon on the back of that. Until then, rain is due tighten up, and as you can see in the background, we are back in Finland, which I'm very, very happy about. It's nice, and you can smell the air outside, which is good. You can drink the water as well, which is amazing. And for the last day and a half, we've been traveling around, so I do apologize about all the people, to all the people that have just been kind of taking my time to get back to. I promise you that we'll get back to you as soon as possible within the next day. And for all the people emailing Elsa, same thing. I should also just say one thing about that. When sending emails to Elsa, just use your best internet etiquette and, a fucking brain. And you don't need to send 5 damn emails about the same thing. She will get back to you. I promise you of that. And from there, we can just move on. And I want to start off with this video with the daily statistics and the big focus of Thursday's video, as we were keeping an eye on the reversal of most likely days to close positively versus negatively since Bitcoin has put in the all-time high. If you weren't on this channel for really any time before this past month or 2 months, then you probably remember that Thursdays was the most likely day to close negatively. Basically, pretty much for the last few years, but especially since this bull market began in January of 2023 till the last couple months. And Friday was one of the most likely days to close positively. However, what we noticed on Thursday's video is that out of the past 8 Thursdays, we've actually been seeing Thursday as a more likely day to close positively instead of negatively, since Bitcoin is putting the all-time high. We saw a reversal there, actually, where I believe, six out of those Thursdays were closing positively out of the last 9. And for Friday, we've seen Fridays become a mostly negative day now, with 7 out of the last 9 Fridays closing negatively from open to close. And what did we see in the last Thursday and Friday? Again, I wasn't here yesterday to actually talk about this, which is why I want to bring it up today and what it means. But we saw Thursday a bounce, which is what we said was likely just based off of that, and Friday coming back down, and that's exactly what we got right here. Do we have a bull? No, certainly not a bullish one, but a bearish engulfing dildo in our face? Actually, no. Bitcoin did not close below the low of Thursday, so it does leave that a little bit in limbo. But ultimately, the trend still remains your friend. And speaking of trend, I want to bring up the trend wave catalyst here and just go over the current daily range as far as trend does go. And of course, to the upside, we do see 63,600 versus the downside, which is actually Thursday's low at 60,600, which is where Bitcoin has kind of found a little bit of its footing as of right now. As long as Bitcoin's in between there, just consolidation. But of course, closing below Thursday's low, and very likely, yes, indeed, we will see Sunday probably test back down below $60,000, probably into the 59.7 to 59.3 range. That's what I'm trying to say. We'll go over specific things with that in a moment here pertaining to Sunday, but that does imply on the other side that Bitcoin can trade and close back above, what is this, Friday's high, which is 63,600 or so. I would be looking for Bitcoin to put in a rally, but not confirming a reversal just yet. Very important here. As we've been saying for the past, I think, week or two now, in the short term, things do favor the bears. Just probabilistically wise, these have been the times for that. And we are seeing the bears do what they need to do in the short term. And they still have the ball in their court basically going into next week. So I would say that if you are bearish, you are looking for things to continue from here in the short term. If you are bullish, however, if Bitcoin were to trade back above Friday's high, yes, that would imply that we probably do see a little bit of, higher areas tested, maybe $66,000, but that does not imply a reversal. Reversals cannot be confirmed here as long as Bitcoin is very specifically below, what was this lower high here, which was Monday, the 22nd of April, which is 67,500. So as long as Bitcoin's below there, do be aware that rallies back up can very easily be traps. And, for what it's worth right now, the trend is to the downside and the trend is your friend. But of course, if you are bearish, you want to see continuation very, 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 very soon. How soon? Definitely by Sunday, here would be the next sort of big thing for me is that if we do start to see the weekly close below the 50% of historic returns range lows for the HPDR indicator, which is 59, it's basically $60,000. It's just a hair, it's just a ball sack hair below $60,000 basically. But if we do see that, if we do see that occur, I would be expecting a test back down, basically around the current lows, $56,000 even, very, 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 very likely to come soon after that if that were to happen. So do keep your eye on that because obviously the weekly closes tomorrow, Sunday. I think it's 7 p.m. Eastern time now. My time zones are all fucked up, even though there's literally only just 1 hour difference between Dubai and Helsinki. But any sort of time difference completely fucks me up. So fair enough. You know, again, if you are bearish, you're looking for Bitcoin really to continue within this next week. So we've been following up on this for the past couple of weeks. This is the time. That also does imply that if Bitcoin does not continue to the downside, very specifically below $60,000, probably by end of next week, like latest, we do see the the markings here really for a nice bear trap. But for right now, have to play defensively if you are bullish, because right now, time wise and probabilistically wise, it's not it. Anyways, moving on from there, let me just reference my notes. Okay, boom, we got that, we got that. That's the level where it gets worse. Again, basically just below $60,000 on a weekly closing basis. Also, we should be aware that, just pertaining to the relevant timing of this, stochastic momentum on all higher term timeframes continues to remain to the downside. Weekly pivot is 70,800 right here. 5-day is 68,000 even. The 2-day time frame is actually popping back up above 58,500. That's the one little green thing going on there. And then the daily is freshly down, rejecting the bullish control zone, by the way, as well, as long as Bitcoin's below 62,350. And I would even say, as far as near term, this would be a good one to be going off of, meaning that as long as Bitcoin is below that pivot, 62,350, yeah, it's better to err on the side of downside rather than upside, with those specific weekly pivots in mind for really opening things up. And like I said, while the next target, if Bitcoin were to fail this region by Sunday, this is a big if, would be $56,000. Doesn't necessarily mean that things need to stop there. I would be looking for Bitcoin to probably come down to very low 50s, maybe even upper 40s, if that were the case. But it does seem to me right now that market sentiment is starting to turn rather negative, or at least people are expecting moves down to mid to low 50s is what I kind of see across the board. Discord, Twitter, TradingView, these sort of places, and YouTube as well. And just also random news articles that I get sent by people. I don't know fucking why, but so that does make me still, it's a cautious area here. The ranges are very, 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 very tight here. So I still don't think it's wise to get overzealously bearish. And actually I really want to save this for tomorrow's video because I want to go a little bit deeper into this, but the Bitcoin production cost, fundamental chart is still very much relevant. And, that does suggest as long as Bitcoin's around $60,000 and especially if it, dips even a little bit below there, these are opportunities, which I do, want to be interpreting it as such. And really nothing's changed there. I just checked in on it this morning, but, tomorrow I want to do like a full on video with it. So, to me, from what I can see across the board, at least the shitcoins that I look at, it does look like a lot of the shitcoins, well, it's hard to say a lot of them, but it does look like most shitcoins are starting to kind of benefit within this range. So I do look at that as a signal of long-term health for the market. It's not until both of them go down in unison where, that's like cycle difference type stuff. But here's what I would say is a silver lining on everything. Assuming that Bitcoin does not close this month above $70,000. I still want to do a video on this as well, but they just haven't found a good time for this one. But assuming that Bitcoin does not close above $70,000 at the end of this month, May, which admittedly we're not even halfway through May just yet, but it is looking unlikely. I would feel very confident saying that I would let go of that prior idea that I was talking about on this channel of this being a very short cycle. if Bitcoin closed below 70,000 bucks, or just nowhere near it, especially, this is going to be a much longer, well, I don't know about much longer cycle, but it's very unlikely to end at the end of 2024. It's very likely to go into 2025, maybe even 2026 as well, depending upon how long this current consolidation takes. It would obviously, fuck around with a bunch of the timings for everything, but in terms of what this summer is going to look like, if you see this summer as a very, 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 very boring and sideways summer, yeah, okay, this market very likely goes deep into 2025, maybe even 2026, before the next sort of cycle high. So I know that that's maybe some welcomed information for some people. For other people, they want it now. I want it now. Give me green dildos now. Fair enough. I want some green dildos as well, but just for reference, we have seen basically a vertical market since October of 2023, more than about 6 months there. Bitcoin taking its time to kind of shake it off over here. It's not super out of the question. But again, it really hinges upon where May closes. If May close above 70,000 bucks, I would go back to what I was saying before, in the sense that this cycle is going to continue very soon, and it's also going to end very soon relative to what I think a lot of people are thinking as well, like before 2024 ends. So these next few weeks are very important, but it is looking more and more likely now, with Bitcoin slunking below 70,000, that it is going to be an extended period rather than a shortened period. So I think that's a good place for me to be leaving off on this particular video. I do understand that I'm going a little bit over time here. Tomorrow I want to be going over, that next idea. I think it's going to pertain a lot more to the more long-term minded people, assuming that nothing crazy happens in the interim. For what it's worth right now, if you just want my personal opinion on the very end here, look, if you start to see Bitcoin dig in here, and you don't see continuation to the downside within the next 2 to 3 days, these are more signals that Bitcoin is just putting in time at the $60,000 level and it's going to turn around. But it's got a lot of work to do, obviously. And if you are going to, again, I want to very specifically say that if you are bearish, like, this is the time to be bearish, technically speaking. But you want to see that continuation no more than 1 week from tomorrow, basically, below 60,000 bucks. So one thing's right there. As always, I want to wish you the best. Take care, much love, and see you hopefully tomorrow.